paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
well, okay, Doctor Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Is Ben still watching Paw Patrol?
No, Leo was watching Paw Patrol.
Oh, is Leo still watching Paw Patrol?
Yeah.
The show with cops that you're reinforcing his positive.
Well, Ben
ideas
is
about?
watching. Ben, what are you watching? Someone has made a bunch of bottles of Prime inside of the Minecraft. Watching a, I'm sorry, Roblox. Roblox.
My point is that you're indoctrinating Leo.
The point is, we told Leo the cop dog sucks.
Yeah, so you're indoctrinating him.
I mean, it's just important
I've
to
been waiting
know.
like 10 minutes for you to figure out sound so I can make that joke. So,
And welcome into Brainstorm Brewery, everybody. It's DJ and I this week, and we're here to talk about what is going on in Magic this week, which this week there's a lot of, you guessed it, Universes Beyond talk. But with maybe a slightly different angle.
Let's hold your... How many horses do you own? Let's hold your one horse.
0
Corbin.
these days.
Oh, congratulations. You finally cut that anchor loose.
It died last year, yeah.
Nice. GZ, grats. So speaking of animals, we've had conversations on this podcast before where you have claimed a higher physical ability than the normal human, correct?
You're talking about when I said I could choke out a cow to eat it?
Yes.
Or are you talking about when I stole the ball from Blake Griffin?
I am referring to the cow conversation. I was just gonna let you have like a softball and say like, oh, Corbin said he could fight a cow, but no, you're gonna double down on the I could choke it down part. Okay.
I'm not doubling down. I'm simply where I have always been.
Either way, I don't know if you're aware of this, Corbin, but there's a meme going around the internet that revolves around the physical prowess of humans.
Oh, not only am I aware of this meme, DJ, I'm ready for this. Go ahead and explain to people who don't know what you're talking about.
So the current discourse on your preferred social media platform is whether or not 100 humans could fight a single gorilla on both parties unarmed and win.
To kill it.
And yes, fight to the death. Which party wins? 100 humans versus one gorilla. Everybody is presumably average in this situation. Your 50th percentile humans versus primate. And I thought of Corbin when I heard this, so I signed Corbin up for a special one of these. Mr. Beast is looking for contenders, and Mr. Beast is like put out a thing. It's like, I'm looking for 100 humans to fight one gorilla, and I emailed Mr. Beast. I said, Mr. Beast, Beast Man, if you will, I can do one better. I can get you one human that can fight 100 gorillas. So Corbin, I have a special. Your flight leaves tomorrow for. If I guess New York or LA, it's probably a 50-50 chance of Mr. Beast living there. So one of those cities.
Probably LA.
Yeah, you're going to go to LA and fight 100. I'm not going to make you do it all at once. It'll be sequential, so it'll be like a back to back to back to back.
Yeah, listen, I have some knowledge about gorillas. Okay? I read Animorphs a lot as a child. Okay? So I'm well aware of the fighting prowess of gorillas. I would never suggest that one human could take out one gorilla. It took 7 or 8 Orc-Bajir to take one down. Repeatedly, throughout the series, that is established. We know the power level of gorillas. Okay. However, fun fact, I did not learn in Animorphs, but I did learn from the discourse this week. Gorillas have the smallest penises of any mammal in the genetic family. On average. So maybe instead of fighting them,
Corbin, I don't think
you
that's
make
true.
them
The average.
Oh, don't you dare tell me that the internet lied to me.
No,
Okay,
like
now
all
we're
the
all
other
gonna
gorillas have
Google it.
normal penises. It's just Spider's George who has a micro penis of 0.0000001,
No,
and he
bro.
throws off the average.
The average erect gorilla penis is 3 centimeters, 1.25 inches long. I don't need to beat up a gorilla. All I have to do is make him feel shame. And
You're
win.
gonna win through emotional violence. You're gonna cyberbully the gorilla through the glass at the zoo.
Oh, no, it's not cyberbullying. It's real bullying. That gorilla's gonna try to fight, and it's gonna be like, I'm gonna take on 100 humans. I'm gonna pull down my pants, and I'm gonna make him feel like, and that's gonna be it. That's my strategy for taking down a gorilla. I don't need
That
help.
sounds like an episode of Baki. Shut the up.
I don't know what that is.
That's a good joke. That's what that one is. Some number of my listeners got that.
I do want to say.
And yes,
for
I'm
the
taking
record,
the listeners. They're mine in the divorce.
Okay.
My listeners.
You got the Baki listeners, whatever that means. I just want to state for the record though that 100 humans could absolutely body a gorilla.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like it's just literally a question of mass. Like it's not. Like yes, gorillas are very
Corbin,
strong.
you're bringing religion into this, really? They're gonna pray him to death.
The Pope died. Oh.
It's a question of mass. Yeah, like
It is.
What, we're gonna get Joel Osteen to as the commandeer
No,
of the human
DJ,
forces.
Mass is for Catholics. It's not mass if it's not Catholic. I'm sure there's some denomination out there that'll yell at me in the comments. But fun fact, it's mass if it's Catholic. Otherwise,
Yeah, you
it's
can
just
have the
a
religious
service.
listeners of the divorce. That's fine. I'll take the
No,
anime ones.
I don't like where this is going. The average human probably weighs like 175 pounds minimum. All right, times 100. Okay, like what are we talking about here? You put 100. Like what are we talking about? You put 10,000 pounds on a gorilla. You don't have a gorilla fighting humans. You have a gorilla sandwich. Like,
Are
it's
you
not
volunteering to be human number one?
Well,
in
I
that
understand
sandwich?
where this is going. I understand why no one would volunteer to be human number one. However, someone's got to be human number one, man. Threaten their family, pay off their family when they're, I don't know. Mr. Beast will find somebody willing to do it. But gorillas, I'd not mess with a gorilla on my own, man. A gorilla's not a cow. A cow's a docile animal. I can sneak up behind and just...
A docile animal.
Yeah, you can sneak up behind and get a hold of it before it even knows what's going on.
If you guys get to make fun of me for Scourge, I'm going to make fun of you for docile.
Docile.
How many O's are in that word? And U's.
There's one O, otherwise it would be
Yeah, it's
docile. What are you
It's
talking about?
docile. Or
I think it's-
docile.
I think it's docile, actually. Saying
If you
words
want-
right on this
If
podcast.
you're waiting for somebody on the internet to tell you you're wrong, you
It's
will get it.
Eidolon. All right, let's move on.
Eidolon.
In Magic news, since I know you all are just dying to hear about that, we did get some info about Secret Lairs. There's a new Secret Lair super drop coming, and I have to say there's a lot going on with this one that people want to look into. Let's start with a simple one, featuring Jay Howe, an artist who has done some unique looking art on a set of cards. That's kind of a normal one, but here's the one that I think is really got people talking, I would say. And that would be the one by Toru Terada, a Japanese illustrator, I think is probably the best way to put it. And this are some extremely unique looking arts. Very, very cool. Very, I don't know the word without just saying artsy. Very stylized in the style of this artist. But here's what's got people talking. Everyone knows it's going to be popular because of how popular the artist is. And it's got good cards in it. Monetary Swissvale, Lava Dart, Soulscar Mage, Underworld Breach, Mishra's Bauble, all good cards. They're selling a $100 version of this for a raised foil printing of the Lair for $100 when the non-foil is priced at $30 and the foil is priced at $40. And this has got people talking because I think this represents a new high point for just a normal Lair drop in terms of prices for a slightly different treatment.
Yeah. I have mixed feelings about this, not in terms of them offering a raised foil. I am totally fine with whatever nonsense variant of Secret Lair they want to put out and make feel special.
Yeah.
All of the cards in both of these so there's 2 mono red Secret Lairs. One of them is called Everything is on Fire, and the other one is called Vroom. They are both just 5 mono red burn-esque cards. I mean, Underworld Breach is not really a burn card, but a lot of these cards just don't see play anymore in competitive formats.
Yeah, Mishra's Bauble does.
When
Breach
was the
got
last time
banned.
you've seen a Chain Lightning cast outside of Cube?
Yeah, Chain Lightning's a cube card for sure.
Or Rift Bolt?
Oh yeah, I was looking at the other one. You're right. Chain Lightning, Rift Bolt. Well, not great. I mean, Lava Spike Skewer still.
Underworld Breach was just banned in
that's just bad
one of
luck.
its last formats, so it's still legal in CH, but Underworld Breach also has another very cool printing with the Double Masters borderless special get, whatever the $65 one is.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, there's another cool Underworld Breach, but that's a card that also has a lot of saturated cool printings. Mistress Bauble has serialized versions. I mean, Monastery Swift Spear has like retro border.
It's got a bunch. There's
it
already
has
Secret
the
Lairs.
crazy expensive one from the top
Yeah.
Secret Lair Showdown or whatever. But like, a lot of these cards have very cool printings already, which turns it into kind of this weird macro level prisoner's dilemma of like, if no one buys the raised foil because either the community is upset about the price tag or like or the people who do want these cards already feel that they are saturated with the cool variants of them,
Exactly.
then like if nobody buys it, then it becomes a really good buy. But if everyone buys it expecting it to be a very good buy financially, then the market has too many of them. I am leaning towards just buying it a while back, and JJ can link the little clip here, but I did like sort of an overarching holistic view of what you should do with Secret Lairs as a customer, depending on which bucket you fall into, whether you're just like player who wants to buy the cards to play with or vendor. I think those are the only 2 buckets of people who should really be buying Secret Lairs. Is either just like buy all of them or buy the ones you like, is the short version of that video. And I'm not sure if the raised foil versions of these 2 layers fall into either category. I could be very wrong, and maybe these are like no-brainer insta-buys as part of the bundle, but there are other things in that bundle that launch on May 12th, I believe, 2 weeks from now, that I would much prefer to be targeting. The main one is the Secret Lair Commander deck. Those have historically always been very, very good, from coin flips to angels to cute to brute to 20 ways to win. I might be forgetting one, but those are all 4 of those have just done very, very well. If you buy as many as you can, they just overperform because they have very unique artwork for their special cards they pick for the deck. Each deck has like 5 to 10 cards where they just go hard in the artwork, and it's very, very good. Like the Anointed Procession from Cute to Brute is like $80 or something like that. It's very, very good. The deck was 100, I think, or 150. So this, I believe the deck's called Everyone's Here, It's Time to Party, or some nonsense like that. But it's a changeling, shapeshifter, tribal typal deck where you play Morophon and then you have all of your various choose a creature type cards, and stuff like Coat of Arms and Kindred Discovery getting borderless rainbow foil versions. Love that. Huge fan of that. I will be buying as many of that Secret Lair as Wizards allows me to, as much as they deign permissible. So I'm a big fan of that deck. I will probably end up buying the bundle because every Secret Lair drop they do nowadays comes as a big bundle where there's a discount attached. The most recent one with the SpongeBob one had like a $2,000 bundle that had a very, very hefty discount that was kind of just like, hey, you're a vendor or a store owner, here you go, this is your bundle, to buy wholesale. If they do one of those, I will presumably end up buying it. I don't know why my light is flashing, by the way. For those who are watching on youtube.com/Brainstorm Brewery, that light is not my room light. It is literally just one of my media lights, and we have a thunderstorm going on, so if my power cuts out and this is the entire episode, then that's why. But I also just don't know why that one light is flashing. It's just this one, not that one, not
Live
the one above my
TV
head.
here, folks.
Not the sun. The sun's also not flashing. But yeah, so if the episode cuts out right now, that's why. And that is my secret lair rant. And I have successfully saved you from having to hear Corbin with his kids while he was muted. You're welcome.
Well, thanks for that, DJ. But also, I mean, I like the art that they've revealed on the special ones for this. I'm not going to lie.
The art's great. I think the
yeah.
art is great. I really like when they do raised foils and make them feel special.
Mhm.
The Bloomborough special foils were very, very good. The Outlaws of Thunder Junction textured foils feel incredible and look great across the table. Very, very big fan of when they do special foils and do it right, and that is the asterisk, because Gilded Foil and Halo Foil are just terrible. Like,
yeah, well,
overdone.
I went back and found, when I was cleaning out cards the other day, whatever the special foiling they did for Wilds of Eldraine.
Confetti.
I have like a confetti foil Bitter Blossom or something, and it is pretty damn cool, and it's like $80 or $90. I think.
So the confetti foil ones feel very hit or miss to me. It very much depends on the card. Because in my opinion, and I could be wrong, it's some of them are very, very visually distinct, and some of them you have to really find the right angle to look at them and see that they're confetti foil. I've definitely missed confetti foils during my pre-sort process where we split out all the rainbow foils, all the non-English cards, etc. And I've missed confetti foils just because they don't visually pop enough.
They don't pop enough. Yeah.
There are some that look great right out of the bat. Aristic Study is one of the ones that thankfully does look very, very good. But there's a few like Nature's Will and Aggravated Assault, just other figures that come to mind that don't look good. But as a whole, the special foiling, I like when it is done correctly. And I think this $100 Secret Lair is a good opportunity of, hey, all of these cards are like not worth anything on their own, because that's always the Reddit complaint, right? Is like the Reddit complaint looks at the value of the regular most affordable version of the card, and then they look at the Secret Lair and they do a 1-to-1 comparison and they say, should I buy this? And that is not the lens you should be looking at this asset class through at all.
Yeah, I mean, also like the same people who say that cards shouldn't have value are the people most mad that the cards don't have value in the Secret Lair drop. So like, I do, like, maybe I tend to just throw some of those complaints out, because if your complaint is that the cards in the lair are not quote unquote worth what they're charging, just don't buy it. It's literally that simple. And if you do like the art enough to buy it, then it was worth it to you. Like, it's the most self-solving. No one needs these cards. We don't need to get into that full rant there. But what I do want to say on the topic is I think that this gets to something as a content creator we sort of have internalized over the past 15 years that I've been doing this, that maybe other people don't necessarily realize, is that the Magic player base turns over pretty regularly. Yes, lots of people play the game forever. Yes, lots of people who play now will take breaks and then come back later, so you can say they've played forever. Sure. But the actual like hardcore, and maybe hardcore is not even the word, like really engaged Magic audience cycles every couple of years. It's always a what have you done for me lately kind of industry, and that's fine. What it means for this, though, is that when we talk about, say, Monastery Swiftsphere, and we say, well, are we going to hit the saturation point where there's just too many cool versions for collectors? Is that we need to understand that a player who became that level of collector in the past year or two may not have those other versions, and maybe they don't want to shell out the money for that other singles version, but because that feels different than, oh, they're making this product where I can get a cool thing for me, and it's the thing, right? And maybe each player may only ever buy one of those, right? But the players who buy them in 2025 are not the players who bought them in 2023. Like, obviously there's diminishing returns at a point, but I do think there's a level of, if you space them out enough, the player base that wants a fancy copy of Monastery Swiftsphere just kind of turns over enough that you can sell another Secret Lair drop with another skin of Swiftsphere. Like, look how many fancy I was also, like, speaking of cards I was going through, I found like a $50+ Doctor Strange counterspell.
I knew that's where you're going. I literally knew
it was that or Soul Ring. Or Arcane Signet. Yeah, those were the options.
Yeah, Counterspell has so many different special variants, and the good ones do continue to be good. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just, I think the idea is that like the player who is looking for a special version of a card when this secret lair drop comes out is perhaps very different than the player on average who was looking to do so 2 years ago, right? Just like from a business standpoint, as I think they can just reuse a lot of cards.
Exist forever.
I understand, but like I said, like from a buying behavior, if we think about the people who like are willing to just buy more for the art or whatever, they're not necessarily trawling PCG Player or MTG Stocks, which they should, our sponsor, to see 20 different versions of a card. It may just catch their eye, you know, like the new secret layer comes across the feed and it just catches their eye and they go, "That's cool. I just built a Deadpool deck." And they,
at the Magic events that I vend with TOA, one of our main display cases for sale is, and one of the main differences that sets us apart from other vendors is we just put out cards that are different than everyone else. I think as a whole, a lot of vendors are still in this 2019 mentality of, oh, I need to be the person selling the Urza Sagas and Force of Negations and Spell Snares on site. Mm-hmm. And the model that TOA has adopted is, if you order those cards for the event, we will bring them in advance and have event pickup for you. But in terms of what's available on the floor, it is Secret Lair stuff, all with different artwork. All the universes beyond Secret Lairs, SpongeBob, etc. And then just things you don't find anywhere else. So like high-end foils, really weird, niche, obscure, just cards that you won't find at any other booth. And
there's hundreds of Secret Lairs at this point, right?
Right, so and the turnover on the Secret Lair case itself is super, super high. Like cards fly out of that case regularly.
Because people don't know what every version of every card is, and that's okay. There's a little bit of discovery in it coming across my feed. Like, I think about how I build my commander decks. I think about the decks I have from like 10, 15 years ago. They more or less have a lot of the lands I put in them 10 years ago, right? But when I build a new commander deck, I pick a new land, basic land type from one of the new sets that has a cool full art version that I like Duskmourn I did for a reason. I did Ixalan before that, and I get all my lands for that deck in that style, right? And if you just apply that to Secret Lairs, you know, people like to be able to do different decks in different styles. So, you know, we're talking about cards like, say, Monastery Swiftspear, and we're talking about a modern deck. Yeah, maybe people only ever want one version, but when you start talking about Commander, maybe they want different versions for different decks. And so you even then can sell the same Secret Lair to multiple people. Right, it doesn't just become a quote unquote which is best, which is I think where we want to be all along. So
going back to what you said about discovery, this is sort of a point. If we look back on Magic as sort of just a game and the concept of and game design, and I kind of wish Cass was here so that she could either tell me I'm a moron or that I'm a special boy who is always right in this situation. Magic, like when you're making a game. Especially a game like kind of like Magic, or if you're deciding to make a game that will ideally last through the ages, something like WoW or RuneScape or Magic the Gathering, or like these titans of industry that have just survived their genre or like League of Legends is another example of this, where like you are just constantly adding more information overload to the game. Right. You are deciding as a game designer to make a product where no one player will like ever know everything about it. And that's a feature, not a bug.
That's a good way to look at it.
So you can have like a closed system game, like I think Slay the Spire is the best example of this that comes to mind immediately, where like if you're a Slay the Spire player, you know all the cards and you know what they do. And that's a thing because Slay the Spire doesn't, I mean, they're making a sequel, but like that will also be its closed system game that is not going to be iterated on and developed over 10 years. Like Slay the Spire 1 got a couple years of updates and they said, okay, this is where we like it. It's done. It is a closed system. And when you come to Magic and you have these players who are like, I can't read the cards my opponent has on the table because I don't know what they are. That, and you're complaining to Wizards about that. That is a feature, not a bug. Like Wizards wants you to look across the table and be, I've never seen that before. What is it? And this era that we have had of like 10 years ago where the average you or me, like the average person who's been in the game for 15, 20 years, like knew every card, that shifted.
Yeah.
Because of just the information density. And like nowadays, if you see somebody who says, "Oh, I know every Magic card," that person is the anomaly, and that person is the bug.
Well, yeah,
Not
like,
in a derogative term, but like
yeah,
they,
but like
they are
that's
the,
so yeah. I mean, like, and think about it. For us, our whole job is to know Magic, and then you add in like my job for the last 10 years has been looking at deck lists, right? Like, I'm pretty good at naming competitive cards when we start talking about what they do and what they are. And I can't, but that's one tiny corner of Magic. I can't
Yes.
begin to do that for Commander. You know, that's the thing, right? It's
Right,
impossible
and-
for anyone to.
Yeah, and my whole point is that is an intentional decision by Wizards, recognizing the type of game they are creating as one that will last for another 30 years, ideally, and thinking if this game is around in 50 years, we don't care if you can't know every card, and we want you to not know every card. Not even we don't care, we care that you don't know every card. That's a good thing. That's great. That you are going to have these game experiences at your weekly game nights over and over,
Yeah.
and have questions and be like, what is that? And there is some level of information overload there, but that is an opportunity for you as a player to learn more and grow more and have all these experiences of like, I found out that this version of this card exists, or I found out that this just card exists that has an effect I didn't know that came out in Fallout 2 years ago, and this this would be really good for my own deck. And like, those are all intentional features of them drastically increasing the card pool because of just how deep Magic's game design system runs, of just being this incidentally perfect, near perfect system of like encapsulating other universes and expressing them through like your sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the role play aspect of like, oh, I'm building a deck that feels like it's doing this thing.
Right. That's what I was going to say. For me, the absolute perfect example of something that I didn't know that, like, I didn't know to really think about it. You're talking about how the flavor blends with the mechanics in a way that just wouldn't have really thought possible. For me, it's rad counters.
Yeah,
like those are
thinking
just
the exact
so
same thing.
cool and flavorful, and it makes it just takes the entire experience. And I understand we're just talking about whatever flavorful aesthetic game designs, but it takes it to a whole next level.
And the other example of that I was thinking of, besides rad counters, and you and I did a video on this that JJ's gonna put a link on somewhere that you should go watch. It's a video where I tell Corbin what the Doctor Who universe is all about.
Oh yeah.
So the Doctor Who cards, even though I don't understand the universe, the suspend mechanic working so perfectly within that theme of just time travel and time control and manipulating time counters. And you can pass that deck off to a new player and have them understand it intuitively because of how that just works.
Yeah.
And Magic gets to do that, of just being this effectively Legos of the world.
Yeah. Good way to look at it. And a lot of people don't like that, right? There are people who think Lego should have remained Legos, only have, Lego characters. They should have only invested in their own Lego IP. But I gotta say, man, everybody likes Legos. And like, there's something to be said for making something that everyone can like. Speaking of that kind of inclusivity, I do want to mention the other secret lair that we didn't touch on yet, which is the KEXP crossover secret lair. DJ, are you familiar with this at all? Do you know anything about the radio station?
I am not. I know Cass posted about it, and so I wish she was here to walk me through it. But
so here's the thing: I've got some knowledge here. So for people who don't know what it is, some of the initial reaction when they see these, the secret lair and the secret lair, you are not alone. The cards in it are fine. The secret
cards
lair
in it are very good, actually. Concordant Crossroads does not get many reprints.
I agree. But, like, no one's beating that on the door for Rites of Flourishing or Font of Mythos.
Font of Mythos is, like, consistently a $10 card.
I understand. There's nothing wrong with it. What I'm saying is, what I saw people talking about the most when it came to this release is the Secret Lair KEXP, where the music matters. What is affectionately known as the band land. These are all, like, band sets set in very low key type of settings with the mana symbols with KEXP logo on it, and they look incredible. And the reason I think all of this is so cool, because some people look at this and go, oh, this is just such a cynical cash grab. We're partnering with radio stations. What? Blah, 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 blah. The backstory here is that KEXP is located in Seattle, where Wizards of the Coast is headquartered, right? So there's a lot of overlap in the world, the actual world of the employees who work at these two places. KEXP got really big forever, but in the 90s especially, it helped popularize grunge, which, as you know, became a very popular thing. And they're always preached like a message of inclusivity. And the hosts have a saying, which is the name of the secret lair: you are not alone. So to me, and I think if Cass were here, she'd probably agree, this is one of the cooler secret lairs they've ever done, because this is not a cash grab. Like, this is full on passion project of people who work at Wizards of the Coast who say, we think that this radio station does some really cool things and brings good and positive things out into the world, and we want to showcase that. And I think that is exactly what a secret lair should be. Because for me, someone who doesn't care a ton about secret lairs, et cetera, I want to support that. Because like, I watch KEXP. They have a lot of independent musicians on their YouTube channel, right? That they bring on. And like, to me, I'm someone who wants to support that sort of thing. So I think this is a really cool secret lair that is like, this isn't, cash grabbing Marvel, right? This is a very niche thing for a niche audience. But if you're someone who A, thinks that sounds like a cool mission, or B, has taken a look at these lands, which are incredible looking, take a look at that secret lair, because that's going to be the ones I use for my next commander deck. I know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's a really cool story.
They added there's two basic lands of each type in this secret lairs. You get 10 cards instead of 5, because I know people have complained about that.
Yeah, someone did the math. It's like $3 per land or something if you want them. And I think it's interesting. Now, I'm in the...
I like how you say someone did the math. It is 30 divided by 10, Corbin. It is not rocket science. It is $29.99 divided by 10, and then $39.99 divided by 10. But you're set like someone did the math. We crunched the numbers. They did the math. Someone deciphered the Da Vinci Code and figured out the true value of this mountain.
I'm so bad at being a grifter.
Was it Ben? Was Ben the one who did that? Was Ben the someone? Your 8-year-old.
Man, I'm so bad at being a grifter. I was supposed to be like, listen, y'all, because we care so much about you, our listeners at Brainstorm Brewery, who go to patreon.com/BSB to support us. We did the math. We crunched the numbers by hand on a napkin so I could get it done right away for y'all. It's around $3 a land.
For as little as...
It's more for the lands than it does to
You're
support this podcast.
You're just going to leave that Patreon pitch dangling?
We're in the
like
Patreon
a 3-centimeter gorilla penis.
That's what I'm saying.
You're just gonna leave that Patreon pitch dangling.
No, that's what I'm saying. We're in the Patreon pitch because it is more expensive for the lands than it is to support the Patreon, which is famously as little as 20 or 25 cents a week. But yeah, check out patreon.com/B. Check out this secret lair and check out
/BSB, not /B.
/BSB. I might have cut off there. And also check out MTG Stocks, which is where we're going for our breaking bulks.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
Shout out to secret lairs. They're pretty cool. I only recently started looking at some of them. They're pretty neat. It's fun to discover new cards.
We should go back and revisit some of our 5-year ago views on secret lairs.
I have to say that I was mad about them selling direct to consumers, which I think was a valid complaint because they did take steps to make more of this available to LGSs, to include them on some of it, despite the fact that we are still moving towards in the long term here to the, more and more direct to consumer model. They're selling entire commander decks, for instance. But they also, did some new programs and some of these products with the other. So I do know that is a 5 years ago view I had on Secret.
The bundles are also just like a pro LGS move of if you buy all of them and have all of them available for your customers, then you just like get a discount enough to make it worth it.
Yeah, like I said, the band-aid of Wizards selling commander decks direct to consumers, like that's real and that's a real long-term thing. But they did pull back some of the more concerning aspects of it, I think. But yeah, all right, let's hop into our breaking bulks because that's what you want to hear about. You want to hear what cards you can pull out of the bulk you've got in your closet to maybe get some KEXP lands, but maybe to support this podcast at patreon.com/BSB. So to the breaking bulks we go, and I have to say, DJ, I don't have a quiz for you this week as this is more of a PSA on this. But I'll ask, so don't get too caught up in this question, but I'll ask you, what do you think is the most expensive token in Modern Horizons 3? It's not a trick question. For what it's
a
worth.
Johnny?
I think so. Yeah, it's the cat.
Yeah.
So, fun fact: that cat token, whether
I
it's
guess
the Johnny,
is it an Ocelot Pride token or
I
not?
say whether it's that's what I was about to say. It's a cat token, whether it's an Ocelot Pride. I think it's the Ocelot Pride, not the Ajani one.
I said like a Johnny, and then I was like, that's the only mythic that makes a cat token in MH3, right? There couldn't possibly be no. There definitely is. It's probably the Ocelot Pride one. Also because the Ocelot Pride one is like one that doubles, so you just need a whole pile of them. The Ajani one is legendary, I think.
The Ajani one is not legendary. However,
it's a 2-1 though, right?
Yes, it is a 2-1. It's worth $1. So here's what I was getting at. The cat token, the Ocelot Pride one, is $4.
Yeah.
It's actually the third most expensive non-rare in the set, behind only Consigned to Memory and Sink into Stupor, two super staples. But more than that, the Clue token, the Fanatic of Ronus token, the other cat tokens, all of these tokens from even remotely playable cards in Modern Horizons 3, worth at least $1. Definitely take a look.
As somebody who doesn't open products, I am curious how those line up against double-sided foil tokens, because historically, double-sided foil tokens are worthless.
Yes.
Even when they have versions of the card of the token that you're trying to want to be expensive. Like,
yes, it's weird.
So I think a lot of this has to do with sorting machines. Where sorting machines really just don't like double-faced foil tokens because they're harder to recognize, and the sorting machine can't see two sides of the same card. So like the non-foil regular versions of tokens do tend to be superior, and I assume would get prioritized by cart optimizers like Moxfield and Architect, where if you say buy this deck and you click buy this deck and it's going to load everything including the basics and the tokens, it is going to prioritize the single-sided non-foil tokens, which I assume is where that velocity comes from.
That makes sense. Also, like, I'm somebody who's dealt with it mostly on like the buy listing end, and it basically what you said, the foil double-sided ones seem to be worthless most of the time, even when they have good cards on them. But what I do is I will just check on all of the tokens. Like, maybe it's not the best use of time, but it is how I find information like this. Like the fact that some, like, because
as a heuristic, foil double-sided tokens you should not be looking up. They are not worth your time.
Yeah. But so
like even the Kiki Jiki one, not the Kiki, the Fable the Mirror Breaker one back in the day was like the regular goblin from that was famously $10 more than a Tarmogoyf. And the double-sided foil one that had a treasure on the back, maybe, I don't know, but that one was like 3 to 4. It's like even the really, really good ones in their prime are not worth digging through.
It's crazy. So what I do is I had Modern Horizons bulk, whatever leftovers from collector boosters or whatever that I found recently from last summer, and I took the time to look up 10 of the tokens or whatever, and I buy listed them, and I made some number of dollars that I would not have otherwise made, just assuming that tokens are worthless in 2025 or whatever, right? Even when it comes to something like, at least according to the algorithm, the Clue token, the single-sided Clue token,
just the non-foil one-sided ones again, because I think this part's speculation on my part. I believe it's because they come from products like draft or set boosters or play boosters as opposed to collectors. So the volume is just not there compared to the demand being from these website autofill deck lists where it's, oh, you buy whatever your deck on TCG or Card Kingdom or whatever, and this content creator or whoever linked you to it, so it's going to autofill your cart, and there's just not that many supply of the.
Yeah.
There's got to be an acronym for single-sided non-foil token. I've said that. I've used so many syllables on that. There's got to be an acronym or some handy mnemonic device.
NFT, non-foil token.
Oh no! We brought back NFTs.
You did it, DJ. The energy double-sided token, at least according to the algorithm, is worth money from MH3, but it lags behind all of those single-sided. All right, DJ, what are you looking at for Breaking Bulk?
I have an NFC, which is a non-fungible card.
Oh God. Go on.
It is a Champions of Kamigawa white uncommon with no reprints.
Kami of False Hope.
What'd you say?
Kami of False Hope.
I don't know what Kamigawa set that's from, but it's not the right one. You're wrong.
Shit. Martyr of Sand.
Not even from further away. You're going farther away from Kamigawa. Martyr of Sands is Cold Snap, I believe.
What was the first thing I said? Kami of the False Hope?
Kami of False Hope is from Betrayers.
Okay, at least I was in the right world on that.
So you were in the right plane, and then you went further away with Martyr of
So,
Sands.
okay, so we said a Champion's White Common?
Uncommon. Gray
Shit,
set
man,
symbol.
I didn't play then.
You don't play Magic. Every set we name, you're like, I didn't play then.
I started playing in 2009.
But you've looked through. You've picked Kamigawa bulk before.
I'm trying to remember. And I don't know the last time I picked Kamigawa Champions of Kamigawa bulk.
Get your money up. This card's $2.
It's 2025. If I saw it in front of me, I might recognize it's a pick. I just don't know what.
You've
what's
probably played against this card in
Okay,
somebody's.
here we go.
somebody
In
had-
what? In what?
A Samurai Commander deck from Neon. Somebody built their Neon Kamigawa deck.
Okay, it's got to be one of those 2-mana white creatures that is an uncommon. That's a 2/2. That's got good abilities because they were always worth money back in the day.
You're close. You're not going to get the card name, so I will say our listeners'
Jotun.
steering wheels.
No, that's Cold Snap.
What did
what
you
is it?
say?
Nothing. What is it?
It is Konda's Hatamoto. That is a
I don't
that's
know
a
what
mouthful.
that is.
Konda's Hatamoto. Say that 6 times fast. Konda's Hatamoto is a 2-mana 1/2, not a 2/2, with Bushido 1, so sometimes it's a 2/3. As long as you control a legendary samurai, it gets +1/+2 in vigilance. So when it's in combat in its ideal state, it is a 3/5 vigilance for 2 mana. And then presumably you have lords and coat of arms and other things.
Sure.
But you are not dealing with a large card pool when you are building samurai. And
I did not know this card existed.
This card is $2 for foil and non-foil, roughly. Foil is actually a little bit more. Market price is lagging behind actual listings, but
yeah.
The non-foil is around $2 TCG player. If you are a sick person who is willing to arbitrage and wait, Star City has a bunch for $0.25 and Card Kingdom has a bunch for $0.25, but TCG market price is $2. So if you're willing to list them for like $1.99 or $2.99 on direct and you have a direct enabled seller account, you can make money if you are playing the long con.
There you go, I guess. Fun to know. Did not know about that one. I was thinking more of like and I don't remember all of them offhand, but like that pure sealed paladin type of mold. There used to be a
this card actually just spiked 2 months ago, and I don't know why. At all.
Assassin's Creed, maybe?
It's a samurai, not an assassin.
I mean, is that not part of whatever free running sort of thing? Or I don't know what. I thought there was a mechanic that encompassed several of them, like outlaws. Is it an outlaw?
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Samurai is by definition not an outlaw. They're like cops.
All right. What about a warlock? Aren't warlocks an outlaw or something? Like, I don't know. All right, I think we may actually save this for a bigger discussion next week. 'Cause I think there's a lot to it. Talking about Mark Rosewater and talking about Universes Beyond. But essentially the TLDR of what he's been saying is that he's trying to fight back against a lot of, I'll just say the narratives about how Universes Beyond is bad for the game, or Universes Beyond is only bought by rich whales who don't really play Magic, or Universes Beyond is only bought by hyper casual players and not Magic players, or Universes Beyond is really going to kill the game in 3 years, not this year, or whatever these arguments are. And he has said things now, like he's being really clear as he says, I'm being as transparent as I can be. Between my articles, podcasts, blog, I produce over 1 million words a year on Magic design. What changed wasn't Wizards getting greedy. It was us adapting to feedback of players. The vast majority of Universes Beyond purchasers are existing Magic players. We expect them to stick around because they already have a track record of sticking around. So, yeah, I think we can probably dig more into this next week, maybe when we have a bigger crew. But Mark Rosewater is out there. He hears what you're saying about Universes Beyond, and he is addressing those complaints head on.
I mean, we've kind of beaten this horse to death. Sorry for your loss, by the way. About your, and like we've been saying this for the entire time, and like it's always just kind of a straw man at this point that we're just building up this theoretical I know this person exists, but
it's
like
just great that Mark Rosewater is so like. I mean, he's done a lot of like saying, you know, we believe in this as a thing from players and blah, blah, and all these like real sort of mealy, you know, sounding like we believe this is good, but he's like really addressing, it feels like aggressively trying to combat these claims. Like at this point, like these are really
the
specific
person who is
pushbacks.
complaining doesn't have real arguments. They are creating their own reality and then asking Mark Rosewater like going backwards from that and being like, how come Universes Beyond is doing so poorly, huh? Answer the question mark. And it's like, what do you...
Or it's like, well, yeah, it's doing so well now, but 3 years from now, it's the long term that's bad. I'll be proven right. And it's like, yep, cool.
Right,
Yep,
it's the same people that say the reserve list is going away.
Right, and that's the same. The thing is, they actually told us this 4 years ago when Universes Beyond started. It was going to kill the game in 3. Like, I don't know. And we can get. I'd love to get more into this one. It's not just you and I, you know, bashing on it. But to me, the interesting, noteworthy thing of this is how much Mark Rosewater is out there on this one, not backing away from it.
He's
not
always
just
been in the trenches.
Yeah, to me, it's really like these
I'm
are
like
specific.
3 years sober of arguing with people on the internet. He never got a chip. Like there's.
Well, look, as he said, man, he does like. For as much as people like to shit on Wizards and Hasbro and all of these things, and I understand it, Mark Rosewater, in addition to other parts of the company, but really him in particular, maybe Gavin as well deserves a shout out here, are more transparent than most game companies have ever been.
Oh, for sure.
And I don't think that. I think that that's something that even now is taken for granted. All right. Well, before we get out of here this week, let's knock out a couple picks of the week.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
All right, DJ, what are you looking at this week?
So my pick of the week, before I get out of here, is Leovold, Emissary of Trust. I talked about him last week, and I have an update on him.
Let's hear it.
Is Leovold a tiny leader? Thank you, Thomas, for sending this email and helping with the research. So I took your Can Anyone Find a Connection to Leovold Being Designed for Tiny Leaders challenge and found the crew's remarks about how shitty Google searching has become quite pertinent. True.
Yeah.
Been playing EDH since 2013, and I too had the memory of Leovold being a tiny leader design. However, trying to find evidence of such has made me feel like I was experiencing a Mandela effect. After ignoring the AI response where it says Leovold was printed in 2019 and banned in April 2025, I was able to find the MTG Salvation board where Leovold's ban announcement was transcribed on April 24th, 2017.
Okay, yeah. MTG Salvation
it made no mention of tiny leaders, but it was funny to see a link to Sheldon's tweet saying the ban had crashed mtgcommander.net. Trying again, I found some old YouTube videos of the professor making an EDH deck for Leovold in 2017 and the Command Zone starting their Amonkhet set review with the ban announcement. Again, no mention of tiny leaders. Then I found the original Reddit spoiler of Leovold from 2017 2016 in one of the top comments saying, "Oh, hey, they finally printed a Sultai Tiny Leader for all 5 people playing that format. Feeling optimistic I was in the right track, I wanted to see if the linked Wizards article mentioned any design choices. However, Wizards does not archive its articles anymore, and it's 404.
It's not, though. Listen, I have another layer for you, my guy. And I don't... Listen, this is incredible that you put this much work into it, and we are going to hook you up. We can go deeper. I believe it is... His name is Max, and I don't remember if it's like Maximum Plays or something. He's on Magic Twitter, and he's created an archive of like the Wizards archive.
We can just tweet at Gavin. We can just ask Gavin on YouTube comments or Blue Sky. Like,
I guess we could do that.
We're just talking about how we have a direct line of communication to the designers who are passionate about this game.
Wait, that is pretty funny, actually.
And we're choosing to go into the archives tunnel and just dust off the old files.
Well, listen, man, I want to. People's memories are famously faulty as to what they wrote in what was written in an article. What are the odds? But listen, if you can find that person, there is an archive up that where you have to know what you're looking for, but like if you have it and know what you're looking for, you should be able to find it where everything was scraped. So somewhere, if you can find that list, it exists. Like I know all my articles are there. Beyond that, I guess we could just ask them, but that doesn't. I think that it may be a Mandela. Like, what if this all goes back to that top Reddit comment?
I did get a few more comments on YouTube /Patreon/other of DJ is absolutely correct about Leovold and Tiny Leaders. My group was pretty big into Tiny Leaders 2014, 2015. The few dozen of us playing were very vocal online about the lack of a Sultai commander at the time. The timeline for Gavin's awareness of the format lines up with the shorter development cycle for draft innovation sets, as does his involvement as product architect.
Seems like we should probably ask Gavin, huh?
We should probably ask Gavin.
We can tell this once and for all. Because I'm super like it's possible that that is true, and yet that was not even in this art. Like maybe that wasn't said, but it was known, right? You know, those sort of things can happen. The
format literally did not have a commander when people were talking, or the colored combination. Like Sultai did not have a tiny leader that was legal in the format, and then 18 months later it exists. And
yeah, maybe like I said, so this is fascinating. But yeah, so both it is true that you can go deeper and find. Somewhere exists the archive of the archive. But also, I guess any of us could have just asked Gavin.
Anyway, Leovold is my pick. He's like $4 because he's banned in Commander when he shouldn't be, power level wise.
There you go.
The card has been eclipsed over the almost decade that card has been legal, and we can do more powerful things. Like, Uro is legal. We have so many things that are broken in the format and that are close to broken and that are just doing insane card drawy nonsense. And like playing a 3-mana creature and then playing Wheel of Fortune, you're allowed to do that with Narset from War of the Spark, which is printed 2 years later after this card. And like Leovold is $4 and has very few reprints because of course he doesn't have reprints because he's banned in the one format he was made for. Or banned in the format he wasn't made for. Banned in Commander, not for Tiny Leaders. He's still legal as a Tiny Leader. Still legal.
You're right.
Still
I will
legal.
say that Gavin said that Leovold is unlikely to be unbanned, but that doesn't mean it'll never happen. But he did. They did go on record as saying that.
What, like recently with the news?
Yeah.
Article?
In the banned and restricted list announcement. If anyone hasn't seen this, they should go check it out.
I am fine with unlikely. Unlikely is a good thing.
Listen, what I'm saying is he gave an opinion, like a 1-paragraph blurb on every card on the ban list.
Right.
And most of them are unlikely to return, as you might guess. But just adding the information that it wasn't a hard, because some of them were like, this is never going to happen. Like Iona this could theoretically return.
Iona got
some context.
Iona got a maybe. That's interesting.
It did, yeah. It could. It said the play pattern of this card is not the most fun, and we wanted to hold off for now. It could theoretically return to Commander.
I think Iona comes back the same day Arayo does. Like both of those cards are just like we accept as a player base. Like
maybe
those cards self-select.
I don't know.
I think those are the kinds of cards that are like I know that I'm okay with shutting my opponent off, and they're trying to do the same thing to me.
This is so. Here's what we should do then. Maybe if not everyone's seen this list, because he also spoke to Arayo rather. I would like. We should go through this list on another week and get takes, and then we can have Gavin takes. And there's no bad takes here, because this is like, keep in mind what Gavin writes is sort of amalgamating the opinions of 15 different, very diverse opinion people. So there are no bad takes. Simply,
I'm
a
still a
consensus reached by the committee.
I'm still a big fan for buying Leovolds. Even if the card does not get unbanned, the card doesn't need to get unbanned, and that's why buying banned cards is very good.
Exactly.
If you look at the graph of this card on MTG Stocks, September 25th, 2024, the card was $20.
Mm-hmm.
Like listings, people didn't buy very many of them because like market price didn't really shift all that much, but market price got close to like 8, and you don't need to have the card be unbanned to make money on a spec. When you're buying a banned card, you can just ride the Splinter Twin coaster up and down and make money on the same card over 10 years. And just every time it gets low, you buy them and then you wait for the hype to sell them. You just sell picks during the gold rush. That's all this industry is.
Exactly, especially considering that Gavin basically said there are not going to be any more changes to the ban list in the calendar year 2025. So you're going to have some buy low opportunities if you have any targets you want. Speaking of, before we get out of here this week, I want to shout out Arena of Glory, $12, $13 card out of Modern Horizons 3. Don't think it'll be that price forever. Card's just straight up busted. It'll probably be $20.
Really?
I mean,
I sell a lot of these and I don't know why.
It's just good. It hastes your Flage out of your graveyard.
Sure.
Is the original use of it, but people are just working it into kind of more and more decks at this point.
It's just Mystic Sanctuary. It's just better mountain / better island.
I mean, yeah, it almost always enters untapped, and then like you mentioned, and then it just, when you really need to give your creature haste, you got to give your creature haste.
Like if Mystic Sanctuary was a rare, it would be $20 if it was legal, like in anything. But this is Mystic Sanctuary. It's just like, oh, I could play a basic, or I could play this, and like that's why Urborg is $50, because like I could play a swamp, or I could play an Urborg. Yeah,
and like Shifting Woodland, for instance, out of Modern Horizons 3 is also $7 or $8. It's just, again,
that one requires more work, though. That one requires you to like.
It's still good, and it's still played as like it becomes a base. It was huge in the Nadu meta because it could become a Nadu or whatever when it was in your yard. But yes, the point is the Modern Horizons 3 lands, especially those two, are just very. So look at them.
Sure.
And look at this podcast on YouTube, or check us out at patreon.com/BSP, because we need and appreciate your support. What makes the podcast possible. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening this week, for hanging out with DJ and I. We will see you next week. Brainstorm Brewery.